Once upon a time, in a small village surrounded by lush green hills and crystal-clear rivers, lived a kind-hearted girl named Rebecca. Despite her humble beginnings, she possessed an unwavering spirit and a generous heart that endeared her to everyone around her. Rebecca worked tirelessly in her family's bakery, crafting the most delicious pastries that filled the air with sweet aromas, drawing townsfolk to their shop. Life was simple, yet filled with joy. In the same village lived a wealthy merchant named Marcus, who owned the largest bakery in town. He was known for his greed and arrogance, often belittling those who were less fortunate than himself. His daughter, Sophia, was a reflection of her father's personality. Beautiful but spoiled, Sophia was used to getting everything she wanted, often at the expense of others. Unlike Rebecca, she took pleasure in the misery of others, flaunting her wealth and status. The townspeople, while impressed by her beauty, kept their distance, wary of her sharp tongue and cruel demeanor. One sunny afternoon, a royal carriage rolled into the village, as whispers spread about the arrival of Prince Jack, the heir to the throne. He was known for his charm and bravery, beloved by the people for his kindness and sense of justice. Excitement filled the air as the villagers gathered to catch a glimpse of the young prince, and the anticipation was palpable. Prince Jack had ventured to the village to experience the lives of his future subjects firsthand. He was tired of the palace's opulence and yearned to connect with the common people. As he walked through the bustling market, he noticed Rebecca's bakery, its door propped open, welcoming patrons with the smell of freshly baked goods. Intrigued, he stepped inside, his heart racing with curiosity and excitement. Inside, Rebecca was busy arranging her pastries, her hands dusted with flour. She looked up to see a tall figure standing in the doorway. Their eyes met, and in that moment, everything else faded away. Jack was captivated by her genuine smile and the warmth that radiated from her. "Hello," he said, his voice smooth and inviting. "I'm looking for something sweet to try. What do you recommend?" With a mix of surprise and delight, Rebecca blushed and gestured towards a tray of golden pastries. "These are my special honey tarts. They are made with honey from our family's bees. Would you like to try one?" Jack nodded, and as she handed him a tart, their fingers brushed. A spark ignited between them, something neither had anticipated. As Jack savored the sweetness of the tart, he felt an instant connection with Rebecca. They began to chat, sharing stories and laughter, completely unaware of the growing crowd outside. Jack learned about her dreams of becoming a renowned baker and her desire to bring joy to people through her creations. Rebecca, in turn, was enchanted by Jack's tales of his adventures, his dreams for the kingdom, and his love for the people he was destined to rule. Meanwhile, outside, Sophia stood with her friends, her eyes narrowing in jealousy as she spotted the prince engaging with the baker. "Who does she think she is?" Sophia huffed. "Does she not know her place?" Her friends giggled, joining in her disdain for the simple girl who had caught the prince's attention. Feeling insulted, Sophia decided she needed to take matters into her own hands. With a smirk, she marched into the bakery, interrupting the budding connection between Jack and Rebecca. "Prince Jack, darling, why are you wasting your time with this common girl?" she said, her voice dripping with disdain. "Come, let me show you the real delights of our town. I have the finest pastries in all of the kingdom." Jack turned to Sophia, his expression softening but his heart still with Rebecca. "I appreciate your offer, Sophia, but I was just enjoying these lovely pastries." He gestured toward Rebecca, who stood behind the counter, a blush of embarrassment creeping across her cheeks. Sophia's eyes darkened. "You can't be serious. Why would you choose this little bakery when you could have my father's world-famous sweets?" Rebecca felt the weight of Sophia's words but stood tall. "Everyone has their own special gifts, Sophia," as she said quietly, her voice steady. "It's not about the wealth but the heart behind it." Sophia laughed coldly, turning to Jack. "Don't be fooled by her humble words, Jack. She's just trying to make herself feel better about her lowly life." Jack's gaze hardened as he defended Rebecca. "Wealth does not define a person's worth, Sophia. It's kindness and passion that truly matter." The tension in the room thickened as Jack's words struck a chord. Stunned, Sophia huffed and stormed out of the bakery, vowing to do whatever it took to win Jack's heart. Meanwhile, Rebecca felt a mixture of joy and fear. Jack's words had defended her, but she knew Sophia would not give up easily. In the days that followed, Jack returned to the bakery frequently, drawn not only by Rebecca's pastries but by her spirit and strength. They spent hours together, sharing stories and dreams, and a beautiful romance blossomed. The villagers noticed their connection and began to hope for a union that would bring joy to their community. As their bond deepened, Jack shared with Rebecca his worries about the kingdom. "My father wants me to marry for political alliances," he confessed one evening as they strolled along the riverbank, their hands intertwined. "But I want to marry for love, for someone who understands me." Rebecca's heart fluttered at his words. "You deserve to be happy, Jack," she replied softly. "But what will happen when the palace finds out about us?" Jack sighed, the weight of his responsibilities evident in his expression. "I don't care about palace politics. I care about you." They stopped walking, then Jack cupped Rebecca's face in his hands. "If you'll have me, I'll fight for us." As their lips met, the world around them melted away, and for a moment they existed in their own fairy tale. But little did they know, Sophia was plotting her next move, determined to come between them. Days turned into weeks, and Rebecca and Jack's love only grew stronger. However, Sophia was relentless. She devised a plan to embarrass Rebecca publicly and win back Jack's attention. One afternoon, she organized a grand festival in the village, announcing that the prince would be judging a baking competition. Sophia made sure to spread rumors that Rebecca's pastries were inferior and that the prince would surely choose her creations instead. The village buzzed with excitement, and when the day arrived, a large crowd gathered in the town square, eager to see who would win the prince's favor. Jack stood beside Sophia, his heart sinking as he watched her flaunt her lavish pastries. He tried to maintain a smile, but his thoughts were with Rebecca, who was busy preparing her own entry. Rebecca was nervous but determined to showcase her talent. As the competition began, Sophia presented her over-the-top pastries adorned with gold leaf and extravagant decorations. The crowd oohed and awed, and for a moment Jack felt the pressure to choose her. But then he spotted Rebecca, her eyes focused and her hands steady as she worked, pouring her heart into every pastry. When it was time for Rebecca to present her creation, she stepped forward, a beautiful cake adorned with fresh flowers and fruits, a true reflection of her passion and love for baking. The crowd fell silent, captivated by its beauty. Jack took a bite, his eyes lighting up with joy. "This is incredible," he exclaimed. "The flavors are so fresh and vibrant. You truly have a gift, Rebecca." The crowd erupted in applause, cheering for Rebecca's talent and authenticity. Seeing the prince's genuine delight only fueled Sophia's jealousy. In a fit of rage, she stepped forward and announced loudly, "This is just a simple cake. What does it have compared to my masterpieces?" The crowd gasped at her outburst, murmurs of disapproval filling the air. Jack frowned, stepping towards Sophia. "This isn't about extravagance, Sophia. It's about heart and soul. And Rebecca's cake embodies that spirit." The villagers cheered, rallying behind Rebecca, their support evident. Feeling humiliated, Sophia's face flashed with anger. "You'll regret this, Jack," she spat before storming away, her dreams of winning the prince shattered. In the days that followed, the village celebrated Rebecca's victory, and Jack found himself falling deeper in love with her. However, Sophia's anger simmered beneath the surface, and she was determined to sabotage their happiness. One night, as Jack and Rebecca strolled under the stars, Sophia lurked in the shadows, plotting her revenge. She whispered to a few of her friends, convincing them to spread rumors about Rebecca, claiming she was unworthy of the prince's love. As the gossip spread, some villagers began to doubt Rebecca's intentions. They whispered behind her back, questioning her character and motives. Jack noticed the change in the villagers' demeanor and was troubled. "Rebecca, I've heard some troubling rumors," he said one evening, his voice heavy with concern. "I know, Jack," she replied, her heart aching. "But I won't let their words define me. I love you, and that's all that matters." Jack admired her strength, but he also felt the weight of responsibility. "I want to protect you from this. I will confront Sophia and put an end to this." With determination, Jack sought out Sophia, finding her in the town square, flanked by her friends. "Sophia, this needs to stop," he declared firmly. "You're tearing the village apart with your lies. Rebecca is a wonderful person, and I love her." Sophia smirked, unfazed. "You think you can just choose a common girl over me? You have no idea what you're giving up, Jack. She's not fit for a prince." "Love is not about status," Jack replied, his voice steady. "It's about being true to oneself and those we care for. Rebecca brings joy to others, something you'll never understand." The crowd that had gathered began to murmur in agreement, and Sophia's facade of confidence started to crumble. "You'll see. This isn't over," she hissed before pushing through the crowd, her pride wounded. Days turned into weeks, and while the rumors subsided, Sophia's resentment festered. She devised one last plan to separate Jack and Rebecca. During the village's annual harvest festival, she intended to create a scandal that would ruin Rebecca's reputation once and for all. As the festival approached, Jack and Rebecca were excited to celebrate with the villagers. They planned to participate in the festivities, sharing delicious pastries and enjoying the lively atmosphere. Jack could sense Rebecca's nervousness about the lingering whispers, but he assured her of his unwavering support. "We'll face whatever comes together," he promised, squeezing her hand reassuringly. On the day of the festival, the village was alive with color and laughter. Stalls adorned with fruits, vegetables, and baked goods lined the streets, and children ran about, their joyous laughter echoing in the air. Jack and Rebecca set up their booth, showcasing an array of her delectable pastries, from honey tarts to her famous fruit cake. Villagers gathered around. Drawn by the delightful aromas and eager to support Rebecca, their whispers now filled with praise. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of pink and orange, Sophia watched from a distance, her heart filled with jealousy and resentment. Determined to ruin Rebecca's moment, she approached her friends with a sly smile. "Let's show the prince who he's really dealing with," she said, her voice low and conspiratorial. They nodded, fully on board with her devious plan. Sophia waited until the sun dipped below the horizon and the festival lights flickered to life. She then made her move. Approaching Jack and Rebecca's booth, she feigned sweetness. "Jack, darling, I've brought something special for you." She held up a beautifully decorated cake that sparkled with sugar crystals. "It's a cake fit for a prince. I'd love for you to try it." Jack eyed the cake suspiciously but felt the pressure of the crowd watching. "Thank you, Sophia. It looks impressive," he said, trying to be polite. As she cut a piece and served it to him, Sophia's friends whispered to one another, exchanging knowing glances. They had secretly added an embarrassing ingredient to the cake, something that would make Jack's reaction less than flattering. As Jack took a bite, his face contorted in confusion and horror. The taste was overwhelmingly salty and bitter, not the sweet treat he expected. Laughter erupted from the crowd, and whispers of disapproval quickly followed. "What is this?" Jack exclaimed, trying to mask his disgust. Sophia feigned innocence, batting her eyelashes. "I'm so sorry, Jack. It seems I must have mixed up the ingredients. But can we really blame a girl for trying? Isn't it the thought that counts?" Rebecca's heart sank as she witnessed the humiliation Jack faced. The villagers' laughter echoed in her ears, and she felt the weight of their gazes upon her. "Jack, I'm so sorry," she whispered, her cheeks burning with embarrassment. But Jack, recovering from his shock, turned to Rebecca with fierce determination. "It doesn't matter, Rebecca. You know that I love you for who you are, not what you create." His words broke through the laughter, and a few villagers nodded in agreement, realizing the cruelty of Sophia's actions. Gathering her courage, Rebecca stepped forward, her voice steady despite the turmoil around her. "This is not how we should treat each other. Everyone deserves respect, no matter their background or their talents. What truly matters is the love we share and the joy we bring to one another." Her gaze fixed on Sophia, challenging her to respond. The crowd grew quiet, and for a moment, Sophia's bravado faltered. She opened her mouth to retort, but the heart in Rebecca's voice silenced her. Instead, she scowled, frustrated that her plan had backfired. Just then, an elderly villager stepped forward, his voice strong and steady. Rebecca is right. We should celebrate each other's gifts and not tear one another down. The spirit of this festival is about unity and love. With the tide turning in Rebecca's favor, the crowd began to murmur their support. Yes. We want to celebrate Rebecca, they shouted, cheering for her resilience and kindness. Feeling the pressure mounting, Sophia snapped, "You're all fools. She's just a baker, she'll never be worthy of the prince." Her words were met with gasps, and the crowd's murmurs turned into whispers of disdain for her arrogance. Jack stepped closer to Rebecca, his eyes ablaze with determination. "You're wrong, Sophia. Worth is not measured by wealth or status, but by how we treat others and how we follow our hearts." He then turned to the crowd, raising his voice so everyone could hear. "I choose love. I chose Rebecca." The crowd erupted in applause, the cheers drowning out Sophia's fury. The villagers began to rally around Rebecca, praising her talent and character. Jack took Rebecca's hand, lifting it high in celebration, their bond stronger than ever. Sophia, now feeling isolated and angry, retreated from the crowd, her plans crumbling around her. As the festival continued, Jack and Rebecca stood together, surrounded by friends and supporters who recognized the purity of their love. That night, as the stars twinkled above the village, Jack pulled Rebecca aside, away from the noise. "I'm so proud of you. You handled that with such grace." Rebecca smiled, her heart swelling with love for the prince beside her. "I just wanted to be true to myself and stand up for what's right. I want to make this official," Jack said, taking a deep breath. "I'm going to speak to my father about you. I know our love is real, and I want to fight for us, no matter the cost." Rebecca's heart raced with hope and fear. "But what if he doesn't approve?" "I don't care," Jack replied firmly. "I will always choose you, Rebecca." As they gazed into each other's eyes, they knew they could face whatever challenges lay ahead together. Days turned into weeks, and the bond between Jack and Rebecca only grew stronger. Despite the challenges, they remained determined to forge their path. Jack spoke with his father, sharing his heart and the connection he felt with Rebecca. The king was initially skeptical, reminding Jack of the importance of alliances and status. "But father," Jack implored, "you taught me that a true leader must connect with the people, understand their struggles, and embrace love in all its forms. Rebecca brings joy to our kingdom in ways I can't measure. She's not just a baker, she's a beacon of hope." The king listened, torn between tradition and the desires of his son. "You must remember that being a prince comes with responsibilities," he warned. "Your choice could impact the kingdom." Days passed, and Jack felt the weight of the decision pressing down on him. He could see the impact Rebecca had on the village, how her kindness and determination inspired everyone around her. Finally, after much contemplation, the king summoned Jack for a final discussion. "I've thought long and hard about your relationship with Rebecca," he began. "While I understand your feelings, I must consider what is best for our kingdom. A union must benefit both parties." Jack's heart sank, but he stood firm. "Father, I love Rebecca, and I believe she will bring happiness and prosperity to our people. Love can create a strong foundation for our future." The king watched his son, noticing the sincerity in his eyes. After a moment of silence, he spoke. "Very well. If you believe this love is true, I will give my blessing. But know that it will take hard work and dedication from both of you." Jack felt a wave of relief wash over him. "Thank you, Father. I promise to honor this decision and work for the betterment of our kingdom." With the king's blessing, Jack rushed to find Rebecca, bursting with joy. He found her at the bakery, where the sweet aroma of pastries filled the air. "Rebecca," he called out, and she turned, a smile lighting up her face. "What is it, Jack?" she asked, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. "I spoke to my father, and he's given us his blessing," Jack exclaimed, his heart racing with excitement. "We can be together." Tears of joy filled Rebecca's eyes as she processed the news. "Really? Are you sure?" Jack nodded, taking her hands in his. "I will fight for you, for us, and for our love. You're everything to me." The news spread quickly through the village, and the townspeople rejoiced, celebrating the union of their beloved prince and the kind-hearted baker. The festival that had once been a platform for jealousy and rivalry transformed into a celebration of love and unity. As the months passed, Jack and Rebecca prepared for their wedding, which would take place in the village square, a symbol of their commitment to each other and their people. The day arrived, filled with flowers, laughter, and the warmth of the community that had supported them through thick and thin. Jack stood at the altar, dressed in royal attire but with a humble heart. Rebecca walked down the aisle, radiant in a simple yet elegant gown, her smile brightening the day. As they exchanged vows, surrounded by friends and family, the village erupted in cheers, their hearts swelling with joy. "I choose you, now and forever," Jack declared, looking deeply into Rebecca's eyes. "I choose you, today and always," she replied, tears of happiness streaming down her cheeks. The moment they kissed, the crowd erupted in applause, their hearts united in celebration. From that day forward, Jack and Rebecca ruled together, their love inspiring the kingdom to flourish. Together, they faced challenges and triumphs, always supporting one another, proving that love could indeed conquer all. As the years passed, Jack and Rebecca transformed their kingdom into a place of joy and prosperity, where kindness reigned and every villager felt valued. They opened new bakeries, celebrating the art of baking throughout the kingdom and providing opportunities for aspiring bakers, just like Rebecca. They organized festivals that celebrated the talents of their people, showcasing everything from baking to craftsmanship, ensuring that every voice was heard and every talent recognized. With each passing season, the couple worked tirelessly, dedicating themselves to the welfare of their community. They created programs that provided education and support for the underprivileged, ensuring that every child in the kingdom had access to learning, regardless of their background. Jack's natural leadership, combined with Rebecca's warmth and compassion, made them beloved figures, not just as prince and princess but as true leaders who cared deeply for their people. One autumn evening, as the leaves painted the landscape in brilliant shades of red and gold, Jack and Rebecca hosted their first annual harvest festival together. The village square was alive with music, laughter, and the tantalizing scent of fresh pastries wafting through the air. The couple moved through the crowd, sharing smiles and greetings with everyone, their hearts swelling with joy as they watched their kingdom thrive. "Look at them, Jack," Rebecca said, her eyes shining with pride as she watched the villagers dance and celebrate. "I never imagined we could create something so beautiful together." Jack nodded, wrapping his arm around her waist. "It's all thanks to you, Rebecca. You've inspired me and so many others. Your spirit is what brings us all together." As the evening progressed, Jack took to the stage, his voice resonating throughout the square. "Thank you all for joining us tonight. This festival celebrates not only the harvest but the spirit of our community. Let's raise our glasses to each other and to a future filled with love and happiness." The crowd erupted in cheers, and everyone raised their glasses in a toast. Rebecca stood by his side, her heart swelling with happiness. She realized that this was the life she had always dreamed of, filled with love, laughter, and the company of those who mattered most. As the festivities continued, Rebecca noticed a young girl, no older than 10, sitting alone on a nearby bench, her face downcast. Curious, she approached the girl and knelt beside her. "Hey there, what's wrong?" she asked gently. The girl looked up, her eyes shimmering with unshed tears. "I wanted to bake a cake for the festival, but I don't have enough ingredients. My family can't afford them." Rebecca felt a pang of empathy for the child. "You know what? Why don't you come with me? We can bake a cake together, and I'll make sure you have everything you need." The girl's face lit up with hope. "Really? You'd help me?" "Of course." Rebecca smiled, taking the girl's hand and leading her to the bakery. Jack watched with pride, his heart swelling at the sight of Rebecca's kindness. Once inside the bakery, they gathered ingredients, laughing and chatting as they mixed, whisked, then baked. With Rebecca's guidance, the young girl learned how to make a delicious cake, her confidence growing with every step. When it was finally time to decorate, they adorned it with fresh fruit and colorful icing, creating a masterpiece that sparkled with love and creativity. "Wow! It looks amazing," the girl exclaimed, her eyes wide with excitement. "Let's take it to the festival." Rebecca suggested, and together they made their way back to the square where the festivities were in full swing. The girl beamed with pride as she carried her creation, and when they arrived, the crowd erupted in applause, recognizing her talent and hard work. Jack took notice and stepped forward, a proud smile on his face. "Everyone, I'd like to introduce you to our newest baker," he announced. "Let's give her a round of applause for her beautiful cake." The crowd clapped and cheered, encouraging the young girl, who stood in awe, her cheeks flushed with happiness. She looked up at Rebecca, her eyes shining with gratitude. "Thank you so much. I never thought I could do this." Rebecca knelt beside her, wrapping an arm around her shoulders. "You can do anything you set your mind to. Never forget that." As the festival continued, Rebecca and Jack danced together under the stars, surrounded by laughter and love. They shared dreams for the future, talking about how they could continue to uplift their community and support one another. Jack took Rebecca's hand, pulling her closer. "I can't imagine a day without you by my side," he whispered, gazing deeply into her eyes. "I feel the same, Jack," Rebecca replied, her heart full. "Together, we can achieve anything." That night, as the festivities began to wind down, Jack led Rebecca away from the crowd, guiding her to a quiet spot beneath an ancient oak tree. The moon cast a soft glow, illuminating their faces as they sat together, hearts intertwined. "Rebecca, there's something I've been thinking about," Jack began, his voice serious yet tender. "You've brought so much joy into my life, and I can't help but think about how we can make a bigger difference together." "What do you mean?" she asked, her curiosity piqued. "I want to establish a foundation to help those in need throughout the kingdom. We can provide education, resources, and support for families who are struggling," Jack said passionately. "We can help children like the one you just inspired tonight." Rebecca's heart swelled with pride at Jack's vision. "That's a wonderful idea. We can bring people together, share their stories, and create a community of support." With their hearts set on making a difference, they returned to the palace and began planning their foundation. They sought out advisors and community leaders, gathering ideas on how they could best serve the kingdom. The news of their intentions spread quickly, igniting excitement and hope throughout the land. Months passed, and as the foundation took shape, Rebecca and Jack worked tirelessly, visiting villages and meeting families. They listened to their stories, understanding their struggles, and providing them with the resources they needed to thrive. Each visit strengthened their bond with the people, and the kingdom flourished under their care. One day, while visiting a remote village, they encountered a group of children gathered around a makeshift school, eager to learn but lacking basic supplies. Rebecca's heart broke as she watched them, and she turned to Jack. "We need to do something for them," she urged. "They deserve a proper education." With Jack's support, they organized a supply drive, rallying the kingdom to donate books, materials, and resources. The response was overwhelming, when soon the children had the tools they needed to learn and grow. As the village celebrated the opening of their new school, Rebecca felt a sense of fulfillment she had never experienced before. Jack stood beside her, pride radiating from his every pore. "You've changed so many lives, Rebecca," he said, squeezing her hand. "This is just the beginning." Together, they built not just a school but a legacy of love and compassion, proving that true leadership comes from the heart. Their foundation flourished, and soon they expanded their efforts to include healthcare, job training, and mentorship programs. One sunny afternoon, as they walked hand in hand through the palace gardens, Jack turned to Rebecca, his eyes sparkling with admiration. "I couldn't have done any of this without you, Rebecca. You've taught me the true meaning of love and service." Rebecca smiled, her heart swelling with love for the man beside her. "We are a team, Jack. Together, we can accomplish anything." Years passed, and the kingdom transformed under their leadership. The love story of Jack and Rebecca became legendary, inspiring generations to come. Their children grew up surrounded by the values their parents instilled in them: kindness, empathy, and the belief that they could make a difference in the world. As they gathered together one evening, Jack and Rebecca shared stories of their adventures, their laughter echoing through the palace halls. They reminisced about their early days, their struggles, and their triumphs, grateful for the love that had brought them together. "Do you remember that first festival? Jack asked, a playful smile on his face. Rebecca laughed. How could I forget? You were brave enough to defend me in front of everyone. Only because I knew how special you were, he replied, pulling her close. You've always been my greatest inspiration. With hearts full of love and gratitude, they gazed out at the kingdom they had built together, knowing that their journey was far from over. They would continue to fight for those in need, to inspire others, and to create a world where love reigned supreme. As the sun set over the horizon, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink, Jack and Rebecca stood together, hand in hand, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, united in their love and purpose. Their love story, a testament to the power of kindness, passion, and resilience, would be told for generations to come, a beautiful reminder that true love knows no bounds, and together, they could change the world. This tale of Jack and Rebecca emphasizes the importance of love, kindness, and the strength that comes from supporting one another. It's a story of overcoming challenges, celebrating community, and the transformative power of compassion.